Welcome to another Pointless Automotive podcast. I am Frank.
I'm still Chadwick.
Still, we're working on changing that. We'll figure it out one day.
We are. A lot of surgery.
That's right. Most free. All the ops. Speaking of ops in the operations sense, how should we be operating today? What do you want to do? You want to do some podcasting where we're talking about all kinds of stuff? I was thinking cars, maybe. Honestly, you want to talk about car stuff?
Yeah, we can do that. We do that every once in a while. We'll fall back on our old safe and reliable.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll probably get into the woods quite a bit here. I think this one's going to be kind of loose, not because we are, but because we want to talk about, at least I want to talk about it anyways. Have you ever had your heart broken, automotively?
Oh, more times than I'd like to admit.
Has there ever been one that has gotten away? Like one that you were like, you went and saw it and you didn't buy it and regretted it, or like you were about to and like you were too slow to the punch and they got sold out from under you. There's lots of ways.
Yeah, no, I've got both of those, and I definitely want to explore that. I broke it down. Deals.
Of course, you broke it down.
Yes.
I'm sure you've got several categories.
For those of you
failures.
Well, I got a spreadsheet, but I just put this one on paper.
Yeah, mine's in my brain, and it's going to be disjointed per usual. But I'll let you the king of organization.
So deals missed, and then I'm going to do the ones that I let go, like cars I sold that I regret selling.
Yeah.
And those are the two ways you can have your heart broken.
Sure.
Well, two of them.
Well, which ones? I guess start off with what did you not pull the trigger on, or otherwise got away?
Which is weird because I pulled the trigger very easily, usually sight unseen.
This is true. This is true. He's on a hair trigger.
He is very, very sensitive. So I'll start off with this, and I probably referred to this story in the past, but back right when I first came to California, I was driving 2007 Subaru Legacy Spec B.
Yes.
Which is what I owned it for 6 years. Yeah, one of my favorite cars of all time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I got offered a trade with a little cash on top on their end.
Okay.
For a 1989.
So
older. BMW M3 in brilliant red with 120,000 miles on it.
Boy, how do you say no to that, right?
I did. I really did. Because my Spec B.
I mean, at the time, I guess.
Yeah, my Spec B was freaking worth way more than that at the time.
Yeah.
It had, 60-something thousand miles on mine.
Sure. A nice, sensible, fun to drive car.
Super fun, super rare.
Yeah.
And at the time, the E30 M3s just weren't.
Like the nicest one in the world was like 25.
Yeah.
Like a museum piece. Yeah.
So in retrospect, 100% should have taken that trade with some cash.
Sure.
And gotten myself in it.
You know what you should have done? You should have consulted this year 8-ball, my friend.
To ask if buying that M3 was a good idea.
Doing the trade. And how much cash on top, you said?
It was like a couple thousand.
$1,000. A
few $1,000, yeah.
Okay. Let's consult the 8-ball. Let's just see if if the fate and the planets aligned and it actually ended up being the right decision.
Oh, okay.
Not getting it, right?
So, let's hear it.
Dear Magic 8-ball, should Chadwick have traded the Legacy Spec B for the E30 M3 plus a little bit of cash? I don't know. There's bubbles. It's hard to read.
Oh.
Yes, definitely. Son of a bitch. You should have done it.
Damn it, 8-ball.
It's okay.
Well, the 8-ball knows all. I didn't know all back then. We didn't see. Because those things were cheap forever. They were like right around the same price point. This one had 120,000 miles. You know, it's just tough, right? Like maybe if I had.
And you would have maybe had to immediately taken out like $2,500 on top and put it right in maintenance.
Right, and my Spec B I got for like I told you the story where I got the trade-in value.
The trade-in price.
If you want to buy a Spec B, you can't.
The Patrick price.
You literally can't just go find one because they were so freaking rare. I think there was only like a handful, like hundreds in 07.
Yeah.
So like at the time, it was modern. You know, it had, it's nice.
Yeah, it was comfy. It was like not like high strong and old like an E30 was. And I get it.
Which is completely funny because now that Spec B is worth way more than I ever paid for it. But
everything right now is worth more than any of us have ever paid for anything.
I think they realized that because they were well-built cars. But yeah, no, it's hard, man. That's a tough one.
Well, good news, my friend. You get to relive a little bit of your E30 E30-ness over here.
With a bigger displacement engine.
Bigger displacement, a few extra doors.
This one's a lot better condition than that one.
Yeah.
That one wasn't in the best condition either, but still. Yeah.
It got away.
What do you got for me? I know.
Well, this is tough because I know I've mentioned a couple of ones that have gotten away in the past on this here podcast, so I don't want to go too deep dive. But
I see you tearing up, so why don't you go ahead and.
Well, I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll go. Should I go chronological? Maybe I'll go chronological order here. So, my first car was the '65 Plymouth Barracuda.
Yep.
what was almost my first car. And I can't truly sit here and say like, oh boy, it was the one that got away, because I like my first car of the Barracuda, and I had good times with that car, and it will always hold a soft spot in my heart. So to say I could have had this and I should have had this is tough, but it is still in the category of one that got away. It's a 1973 Land Cruiser, right? It was a FJ40.
Yeah.
Red with the white hardtop.
Okay.
The factory hardtop. Had some diamond plating in the quarter panels. I don't think it was to cover up rust rot, but who knows?
Yeah.
It had 31s on it, and most importantly, it had a 327 from a Corvette swapped into it to the factory 3-speed on the floor manual. Fired right up, ran really well. And the way I found it was, I was however old I was, 15, 16, I think it was 15, riding my bike around the neighborhood, just looking for interesting cars, leaving notes on windows or knocking on doors and such. There was one right down the street from this guy in my neighborhood. He had a 68 Mustang GTA with a 390 in it.
Oh.
Primer, body was straight, black interior, and I left a note on the car, and the mom called me, well, it's my son's, and he's off to college, and I don't think he wants to sell it, but I'm going to ask him. And so I left a note with that car, and then this car I knocked on the door, because I can see it wasn't parked in front of the house, it was like on their side yard, like a chain link fence gate, and I can see it through the gate, so I knocked on the door. Me and my buddy, and we're just like there, hat in hand, hi, I saw this car on the back.
Would you like to speak to about our friend, our Lord and Savior?
Exactly.
Toyota Land Cruiser.
Exactly. Powered by a GM.
Yes.
And so, knocked on the door, had the conversation. He's like, well, this guy was in his maybe mid-30s, a young kid, he's probably our age. And so, he's like, well, I've had this truck, I bought it from, it was a good friend of mine, he passed away, I bought it from his estate, so to speak.
Okay.
And it runs and drives great, I never drive it. He's like, I drive it, I fire it up, I put a couple of miles on it a month, and then it goes back on the side yard. I want to give it to my son when he's of driving age, but my wife wants me to get rid of it. She wants a boat. She wants us to get a boat to go out on the water, and I can't have both. So I was considering selling it, so this is kind of serendipitous that you're knocking on my door right now. Small, I was probably, I'm not a big individual, I was less even of a big individual there. I was probably 5'8", 120, probably less, 115.
So you haven't started shrinking yet?
I hadn't started, no, not yet. and so, diminutive little me knocks on the door, okay.
I picture like a little muffled.
Hello. Housekeeping. So I knock on the door. Oh, I love you, Bella. So dude comes to the door, we have a conversation, and he's like, let me talk to my wife. Let me take your phone number, I'll call you in a few days. If you hear from me, come knock on my door. So a couple days goes by, he calls my house phone number, this is pre-cell phone era. Get the house call, I talk to the guy, he's like, yeah, you know what, talk to my wife. My wife. So talk to him, I talk to my parents, they agree, so we go over there, we look at it, my parents are kind of worried, like, an FJ40 with a Chevy small block and a Corvette, and it rained. Me and my buddy, I couldn't drive a stick at the time, so I had a buddy come with me at first before my parents came inside. We drove around the block, and he's like, dude, this thing rips. He was like giggling, driving this car. He was this redneck friend of mine. He's like, this thing is sick. So we take it back. My parents are like, okay, we have to look at it. I want to get a mechanic to look at it. So we go through all the things. We discuss price. We agree on the price. $3,500.
Ooh.
Rust-free. The paint was kind of faded. Interior was together. Yeah. No back seats, but the two front vinyl seats were good. Everything worked on it. Take it to get it looked at, right? We're expecting to get poked full of holes, right? And the mechanic is just like, he's like, I don't say this, but like this car needs almost nothing. He's like one of the wheel cylinders is leaking a little bit in the rear. He's like, you could probably stand to repack the axles and do some suspension maintenance. Go through and just grease some fittings. But the engine's really healthy, transmission feels good, clutches got a lot of life left in it. Oh, I forgot to mention, it also had a huge, like 18,000-pound winch that this guy's buddy, who he got it from, like stole off a city truck and mounted on the front. It was like extreme overkill. So
sweet.
So I'm all in. I'm like, okay, this. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. And so my parents were like, okay, well, let's do this. Before we do that, I want you to look at one more car. my dad had a friend who owned a baseball card shop here in Concord. He's like, he's got an old car too, he wants to sell. Long story short, that was a Barracuda.
Gotcha.
And I ended up buying that instead, partially because my parents wanted me to, and like kind of pushed, like we rolled up to go look at it, like, oh my god, it's beautiful. Like they were like trying to push me to it, because they were worried I was going to roll this thing, which is probably a very reasonable expectation that like a 15-year-old is going to find a way to roll a mildly lifted FJ40 with a Chevy small block in. Like who just like coming right off it. So that is absolutely one that got away. Because if I had that now it's not like today where everything is worth a ton of money. Like 10 years ago, that was the values on FJ40s cranked through the roof.
Yeah.
And that would have turned into a $30,000 truck.
Still,
I would have
super
been 10.
sweet to have now, though, man.
Oh yeah, how cool is that?
Holy shit.
Yeah. So yeah, the 327 powered FJ40, that was almost my first car. Absolutely, is one that got away.
That's amazing.
Yeah. What do you got in your bag of tricks? Anything else?
Yeah, well, you bet I got a few. So, Impulse RS Turbo. Remember that guy?
We literally, when we were just like wolfing down some lunch here, we were talking about like the holy grail of quote unquote shitbox cars and stuff. That was like, dude, it might be that. That maybe 323 GTX.
Yeah, they're both super rare, super awesome performance. So that's the 1.6 liter turbo with 160 horsepower. Had the off-center hood scoop.
Yep.
The cool it's basically like a Geostorm. So it had like the lazy eyes that opened a little more. Fucking hot. Anyway, good.
I know the first gen Impulse was Giugiaro design. Was the second as well?
Negative on that.
No, they decided to like take it in house and kind of rip it off and like just make like an illusion of it.
Yeah, this was just literally
inspired.
This is literally a Geostorm, like for anybody following along. But here's the deal with this one: if you want to buy one now, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't, and they're probably up there. So, dude, this is when I was living in Maine. I didn't have a lot of money. Everything gets rusted out, right?
Sure.
So I expected that. I go to look at it. It's rusted out. It was a little rougher than I'm a big DIY guy to a certain level, but this guy had a Mountain Dew can, fabricated to cover up an intercooler leak on the intercooler pipe.
Was it at least code red?
No, they didn't. I don't think they had
Game
code red.
fuel.
This is literally the early 2000s.
Okay.
So the craziest thing about this, he was asking $1,800.
Ugh.
And
a parts car nowadays is
that engine's worth that.
Yeah,
but seriously, so rare. The condition was so rough. I had to pass because I actually needed a car to drive around.
Sure.
I didn't have the ability to maintain.
That's such a concept. Like I need the car that I can actually drive occasionally.
Yeah, couldn't carry an unhealthy fleet on my back then.
Yes.
But no, this legit Impulse RS Turbo, 5-speed manual, which is what you want.
Yeah.
And $1,800, and it wasn't good enough.
Those were manual only, I think, right?
No,
the RS.
The automatics, yes.
Oh boy.
But talk about a buzzkill when you find a clean one. They always had the automatic one.
We got to write this down in future episodes edition. What is cars that are just like they're great in a manual and utter trash?
I mean, I would still buy an automatic today, but not for the prices they're going for. I don't even know what these things go for. I'm assuming.
They don't traffic.
Yeah, if someone does find a barn find one and sells
your
it.
Daytona.
True. But I think this might fetch I think if someone found a low mileage barn find Impulse RS with a manual and not rusted out, I think that goes for 20.
It could if it's
I think so. Like 60,000 miles.
Yeah, I'm gonna say if it's like sub 80,000 miles and everything's good.
The want is so high. The want is so high though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it gets close. I think minimum 15, right?
I mean, it has all the business in the world to do that, you know.
Anyway, that's one that got away, man.
That is a good one. Yeah. Another. I got another one in from the time when I was just a young lad.
Little Frankie.
Little me. But I purchased on the old eBay account on eBay, and this was probably either just after I bought the Barracuda or just before. An early first gen Scirocco, Volkswagen Scirocco.
Ooh, yeah.
It was on eBay. Garbage photos, but the list runs great, runs reliable transportation, whole hum, 4-speed manual. I think it was the 1.5, I think. I won the bidding. It was in Santa Cruz, so it was like not that far from me. Now I was a straight up child. I had no business going on eBay and purchasing an automobile. However, I did. I won the bidding. It was a no reserve back in the day, early eBay listing, and I won it for I think $450. for a running, driving, smogged first-gen Scirocco, right? So I go like message the guy like, "Yay, I won the car, thank you." And the guy just was like, "I'm sorry, but like this car should have sold for like a couple thousand. I'm just not gonna sell." So he did the opposite of the non-paying bidder thing that killed off my Mr. X username. He just refused to sell me the car. He's like, "Nope, sorry, like I can't do it." And so it wasn't for lack of effort on my mid-pubescent part. It was literally, I bid it, I won it. I should have had myself a $450 Mark I Scirocco, which right now, a clean California rust-free Scirocco, it was I think it was like a 76 or 77 Scirocco.
Okay.
That would have been sweet. And it was
nice.
It was not meant to be. Do you have any Scirocco homework?
I got no homework. They're both obviously same designer.
Yes. Yes.
Almost the same. And there's like
Yeah,
rumors that the Impulse was actually going to be the next gen Scirocco.
That makes sense.
Which probably has some truth to
Because
it.
in the second gen Scirocco, much like the first gen Piazza Impulse was a Giario, same with the Scirocco, and then they both like, we'll just rip you off for the
look
second gen.
so damn much alike.
Well, I mean, the same designer, right? So you can tell.
We also
tell.
the Spec B was designed by someone that designed an Alfa Romeo, so they kind of mix it up every once.
Yeah. There's only so many like really high level designers. Designer of the Acura ZDX aside, what else got away? You get anything that got away from the clutches of Chadwick?
Yeah, things. So here, we'll switch it over. Ones I've sold. So this is heartache I invited upon myself. Much like all heartache in life.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know?
So it has to be.
My '93 Acura NSX, 5-speed manual. Mm-hmm. Those were all coupe hardtops. They didn't have power steering. Basically, the one you want.
Yeah.
You want the early '90s ones.
What over what as far as color combo?
Red with the tan. So
Ooh.
ivory interior.
I prefer the tan to the black. Hot take. I know people.
I think
like
it looks
the
good.
tan
I like
too.
the tan on the red for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't want to get into the details. I made a video about it, but we were talking about it earlier. I used to play Magic the Gathering, the card game. Nerd alert! But so I sold my collection. I had been playing for 20-something years. My collection had gotten epic level, and I couldn't keep two hobbies at once. The car thing was like definitely becoming priority. I cashed out, sold my whole collection, and wanted to buy a sports car. And I've been looking at NSXs my whole life, like most young guys.
How sick of a story is it? Just like, hey, what'd you pay for that? What'd you pay for that NSX? My collection of Magic the Gathering trading cards.
It is a cool story, right? Like, also 20-something years of my life, but
hey,
it's the other way to look
paid
at it.
off.
Paid with blood and time passage.
Sweat and tears.
And a lot of tears afterwards. Anyway, cool car. The problem with the NSX is, like, every time I took it out, I was so afraid to park it in a parking lot, so afraid with other people driving around it, because people were crazy when I took that car out.
Yeah, people pull up next to you and just
hanging out of their car, videoing their cell phone, and it's just like, for me, it's not. I'm a turd box pioneer.
Yes.
Like I love my.
You're a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, packing that heat, but you got to work for it.
That's right.
But no, it was a great car. In fact, I bought it right before prices went crazy. And bought it and sold it before prices. They started to inch up, so I said, now's a good time. I'm
made a couple of bucks. But
I made some good money on it, but not like anything like if I had it today. Where it'd be more than double.
Sure.
So, sold Magic cards, that's cool. Bought an NSX, but then sold it way too early. But I enjoyed my time with it, did a review with it, and I greatly enjoyed the car. It was just, it was one of those cars I didn't feel comfortable owning. Like, it was in the garage a lot of times, and I'd be scared to walk near it with tools, and that's not my style. And I'm not a flashy car guy. I didn't care that it was flashy. I liked it because of what it was.
What's the most mellow color for an NSX? Just white? Is it taffeta white?
They have silver.
But I mean, the least. If you were to just park it, that would garner the least amount of attention.
I think white's kind of nerdy with Honda people because they're all their
the
Type Rs are always like that.
Yeah.
So the silver probably is the
silver, not black.
It
and black's the sinister.
Yeah, and you can murder it out.
Yeah, bro. Exactly.
Murder. It was in red with the ivory leather. I know. And the guy before me did the full NSX-R engine paint treatment, so everything was painted with the red, and I took the cover off so you could see through the back window and see this beautiful, it's so good, and it sounded so, whatever. Anyway, things you let go. Still wish I had it. I'm still looking at NSXs. There's nothing under like 80K that's worth a shit anymore, and it's just insane.
It's I'm scheduled next week to shoot a 94 black on black.
That's going to be the similar spec because 95 is when the T-tops came out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this is 95 black on black 5-speed car. I think it's got like 60,000 miles on it.
Okay.
That's good. And it's going to run on one of the bigger auction websites. I'm not managing the sale. I'm just doing the photo video work on it. But you know, it's probably going to pull 85.
You get to drive it?
Not yet.
No, are you gonna get to drive it a little bit?
Yeah, I'll take it for a spin.
Drive it.
Not like I'm just gonna be like driving it like 3 miles to a photo shoot.
Well, yeah,
back. I'm not gonna be like
touching 1,000 once at least.
Yeah, I'll bounce it off the rev limiter the entire way there.
Yeah, just don't even shift first gear. Second gear goes to 81 in mine. So
that's all I need.
Reference.
There we go.
Do me a favor, drive it, and then I'll let you drive the Cayman S and tell me personally. This is very heated. I'm not going to say my point of view. I think you know. I think I've said it before. But I want you to drive that, and I'll have you drive the Cayman S.
Okay.
And you tell me which one you like better. Which one's a better drive?
Okay. I feel okay. We'll just have to do it. I'll just have to do it.
Yeah. Without the heart, you got to put your blinders on. Even though the Cayman is a very attractive car, but just I want you to drive both back to back because I've done that.
Sure.
And that's the thing too. When I got rid of my NSX, I missed the mid-engine handling, so I went and bought, like everybody does, buy something reasonable like a Porsche.
Right.
Porsche, right? That's a smart thing to do. But I'm not upset at all, especially the value of that car right now.
One thing I'm a little bit upset about though, personally.
Yeah.
I'll just knock one more. Wow. Oh, 1.5.
Yeah, go for it.
So there's 2 times in my life where I've almost purchased, and I think I talked about one of them here somewhat briefly. There's 2 times in my life where I've almost purchased an SP165 Celica All-Track.
Yeah.
The first one was both times I was living in Roanoke Park when I was going to college at Sonoma State University. Go Seawolves, or Cossacks, depending on when you graduated.
My second favorite kind of wolf. I like Airwolf more.
Oh, Airwolf. Oh, dude, I was so obsessed with that movie when I was a kid.
I still remember the theme song. Came out of a volcano.
Did you put like silent mode where your helicopter becomes silent? That was always there. Yeah. Celica All-Track. So the first one was, I found one for sale on Craigslist in like, I think it was like San Mateo or something, in a tow yard. They had it listed for...
When was this?
This would have been like 04, 05, 06. Somewhere in there.
Probably
05, 06.
That's when you could get escort service on Craigslist for...
Yeah. Was it literally just it was called just hookups, right?
They paid with roses. You couldn't mention money because it was illegal if you mentioned money. So it's like I would, everything for 5 roses.
Got it. The stinking rose. Well, that's
how I know this.
Well, that's kind of don't ask, don't tell. But they had
answer my own question.
Kind of like they had. What was it? Where like you can do like back when like doing anything for pot was like super like that guy smokes weed. Where it'd be like like 420 question 420 friendly like that was like that was a code that no one would figure out, right? Like super obvious. So outside of going Greek on Craigslist, I found this car on Craigslist, went down, I think it was in like San Carlos somewhere. It was a significant drive. It was probably an hour each direction to go look at. So my girlfriend, then now wife, we drove down together.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. We drove down. We drove down together, and to go look at this thing. And so I go look at it in the tow yard, and I think it was $1,000.
That's
maybe 800. And it's like runs well. We'll need turbo soon. It had like 130,000 miles. Navy blue exterior with navy blue cloth interior.
Sweet.
Okay.
Blue on blue.
Bone stock. 5-speed turbo.
That's rare.
Whatever.
Especially at that time.
Stock wheels, everything.
Jeez.
So I get there. I talk to the guy. He's this like frantic tow driver. He's like, oh, okay, we'll start it up. He's moving a mile a minute, and he starts it up. He's like, oh yeah, this thing's running great. It's perfect. You can drive it anywhere. And he's like, just absolutely like bouncing it off the rev limiter, and it's like smoking like a chimney out of the tailpipe.
Cold start, high rev.
And I'm like, okay, well, can I drive it? He's like, no, you can't drive it. Only I can drive it. So he gets in, and he has his passenger seat.
Hold on to the butts.
Yeah, and we go drive around the corner, and the turbo is blown
Yeah.
It's not just like, hey, it's going to need to be replaced. It's like,
Falling on its face.
you can lift it a mile or two down the road and that's it. But he was like, oh no, you can drive this fine. Look, oh, this thing runs great. And it's like struggling to hit like 35, 40 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Because it's making like negative, it's like running straight vacuum, there's like no boost, and it's just freight training out the tailpipe. And it was like, he's like, oh, this thing's great. Look how good this thing's. I can't take $1 less than without like, what I have it is now. I know it said it's negotiable. I can't do that. Like I can't. I was just like, well,
jeez.
only way I can do that. It's impossible for me. And I'm like a starving college kid.
Yeah.
So I was just like, tell you what, you own a tow company. If you can tow it to my place in Roner Park, I'll do it. Otherwise, I can't. Like I can't drive it that far. I can't afford the tow. You're not willing to negotiate up the price. If you do like $500 or something, I would do it. And he's like, oh no way, no, get out of here with that, blah blah blah. And it's just like, so I walked away. And it's just I don't know though. Like it could have been a disaster waiting to happen. I could have made the right move, but I still think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, I did the same thing, and I think the second one is one I talked about on here. Was another 88 Celica All-Track, black on black. And I found it on like the Celica message board, I think CelicaAllTrack.net or something like that. Down in, I did like I was doing a work thing for a company I was working for, running a trade show down in Anaheim.
That's right, you did tell the story.
Yep,
that's a good
one. So went down there, looked at it, turns out it had 100,000 more miles than what he said, and the tires were rubbing on the inner fender wheels because it had Neon SRT 4 wheels and the offset was wrong, and so the tires, huge gouges in the sidewall, all 4 tires, and I wouldn't have been able to drive it back, and he didn't negotiate on the price, even though he added 100, I said it was 113, it's 213,000 miles.
Whoops.
But black on black leather, which is like, I don't know how many they sold like that, but 0. Like I've never seen them. They're hard. They're rare in that color to begin with, and they're rare to begin with, and another one, and I think at the time it was like $2,300 or something.
Damn.
And it's just,
both of those.
Got away. Do you got any other ones, or do you want to get in the...
Any
other Phillies break your heart?
Just a couple quick nods. My 05 M3 in Imola Red.
Yeah.
46, that's sad.
What year?
05.
Okay.
So my Fiesta ST also puts in that boat. I miss my Fiesta so bad. I got rid of it for the Lexus.
Okay.
For fuel economy.
Nice and sensible choice. But maybe not exciting choice.
Just that Fiesta. So I had when I used to, back in my working days, not that I don't work, but a few of my...
it's different.
It's different. Yeah, a lot of my clients were in the city, so the Fiesta
roses.
ST in San Francisco was a hoot. Because you have to be aggressive to survive.
Really nice car in the city, just gets the snot kicked out of it. It's like the bumpers are chewed up, and it's gonna have something small and tossable. So either the Lexus or that car makes sense. But
yeah, both good. It's just that safety dynamic of being able to pull out, because people are always just pulling out and stopping in the middle of a road for no reason to let people out.
Exactly.
Great car.
So
that's it. Quick shots. That's
I mean, the only other one I had real quick is back to my Mark II Supra days. I almost bought one with a 7MG TE engine swap, which is the Mark III turbo engine.
Yep.
For like no money, and then I was like 18, and I couldn't get the purse strings together, and the guy was like helping me out on the price, but it was down in SoCal, and it was like, but it was really well done. It looked really clean, and I couldn't put it together. And the guy sold it to someone else because he had to actually sell the car, and not deal with teenage me. So he sold it to someone else. And I know I've sold a bunch of cars before. I know you've sold a bunch of cars.
Yes.
Before, and much like we've got stories about cars that got away, we've got stories about selling cars and buying cars to sell them, and all that whole mess and that life that we live. You got any good ones? You got any, or at least mildly interesting stories about like, hey, I sold this car, and then like, the guy, whatever, something crazy went down or didn't, or it ending up in a magazine somewhere or whatever, like a certain SHO that I sold.
True.
What are you thinking? You got any good ones?
Yeah, so the best car sales are the ones that are not eventful, right?
Yeah.
Just go smoothly according to plan.
Yeah, you get like a text from the guy like, hey, made it home safe and sound, thanks again, bro. You're like, sick, have fun, and that's it.
Yeah, so we've already talked about this car, the Spec B, when it came time to sell.
Okay, and not trade it for an E30 M3.
What the hell was I forgot what I replaced that car with, to tell you the truth.
7 pounds of prison quality crystal meth?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So anyway, 07 Spec B, which is the one to have. I really loved it. It's the one that had all the STI bits, so you get the torsion diff, 6-speed manual, all the good stuff. Anyway, So going to sell that, it actually made its way onto Jalopnik's Nice Price or Crack Pipe.
There you go.
They
Is that the
picked it up.
second car that you had on there? Because wasn't that show on there?
The show was after, so
Yeah.
this was the first one I got
Sure.
on there. So it's rare, you don't see spec Bs come up for sale.
Right.
And it had like 95,000 miles when I sold it, so I put a lot on it, but still that's low mileage.
Sure.
Anyway, so I meet a lot of interest, right? You're gonna get a lot of interest on a car like that. Everyone that loves it doesn't have the money. I was asking something like 17 grand, I think.
Sure.
Which is not insane. Now it's worth way more, even with double that mileage.
Well, what were the votes? Were the votes nice price?
It was right in the middle.
Okay.
Right in the middle.
Fitty.
So it had been modified, but everything I modified was putting the Japanese stuff on there.
Sure.
So I put the better Bilsteins, I put the STI pinks, and I did a stage 2 tune
Sure.
with an exhaust, but I kept all the stock parts.
And that's a downpipe on that for the stage 2, right?
It is a downpipe and an uppipe without a cap.
Got
Because
it.
that cap would fail in the uppipe and eat your turbo.
Yeah, don't do that.
But I kept all the stock parts. Came
Cool.
with the sale.
Yeah.
So that was cool. It was definitely a good deal. It was like 50-50 because at the time, like, it was still too new to be like campy and like people wanted it for nostalgia.
Yeah.
Now today, it's like the best legacy ever made.
Yeah.
Like it's an
For sure.
STI legacy.
It's like not even an argument there.
Yeah, not even close. And Subaru's probably not going back to those days.
Yeah.
So, guy shook hands for the exact value, which I wasn't taking anything less. I was getting a ton of interest. This was like 2 days after I posted the ad.
Right.
Cool guy, like super into it. He drove like, I can't remember what he had. He had like a kind of cool, I think he had an STI, like a 2005.
Right.
Which was a blow by.
Sure.
Pretty cool car.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get something more like for daily, more like luxury.
STI in a suit.
Yeah, it really is. And so we agreed to price. Cool guy. Yep, we'll meet up tomorrow. Cool, just bring the cash. We'll do the transfer right here. Same parking lot. Comes back. We shook hands. We shook hands on the price of the deal.
Yeah.
And he gave me a little bit of a down payment, which I get to keep, of course, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, when you shake hands on price, that's it, right?
Yeah.
No matter what. And that's a global thing, guys.
Right.
Just so you know, not just a.
That's not
weird
exactly.
car guy.
There's not a lot of like to get lost in translation there.
Yeah, that's older than time itself, right? Anyway, he shows up, man. He comes up, he's all happy. He comes right out like, hey, how's it going? Good. I'm like, hey, I got everything in it. All the owners made it, all the parts are loaded up, ready to rock and roll. I took the ad down when we shook hands like you do.
Yep.
He's like, a little bad news. I can only get 16 grand out of my bank account. I'm like, well, we shook for 17.
All right. Well, what do you want me to meet you tomorrow when you can get another grand out? Like,
Yeah, I was like, what's the deal? I thought we were handing it off today. He's like, well, this is going to be the most I can do. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry to tell you, man, the deal's off.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I get my $200 back? I'm like, I think I gave it to him, actually. I think I actually had money in my pocket, so I gave it back to him. And I said, just so you know, when we shake on prices, you gotta honor that.
Yeah.
And I ended up selling it later that evening. I put it up, and someone that was immediately interested before that reached out was like, and I reached out too, and I was like, dude, the ad's back up. He's like, I'm coming to get it.
Sweet.
17,000, car was gone.
I guarantee if you put it back up for like 17 and a half, you would have made more, $500 more, got your time back and like whatever. But
in those cases, but it was just wild because I remember I had to get off of work early. I had to meet this guy again. And then just that kind of BS, like once you shake, man, that's it.
Yeah.
That's a contract agreement, my friend.
Yeah,
so
it's silly.
That's how that worked out. So that's the first time I've ever shaken on a car. I've had plenty of deals go through, like someone give me a down payment and can't make it out, or can't make up the money and they tell me. But I've never had someone actually show up to pick up a car with less money after agreeing.
Right. Well, at least I told you, not like accidentally like, oh, I don't know where $500 went.
Oh, I got a story about that too.
Oh boy. Okay.
That's that one.
That's
Pretty sad.
Well, I've got one. I kind of bought it once and sold it twice. So I owned it was a 2004 Audi S4.
Okay.
Black on black sedan. That's a 4.2 V8 with the timing chain rattle of death.
Yep.
Tiptronic, not a 6-speed sadly.
Oh, okay.
But I got it for a song. I think I paid $3 grand for it.
Okay.
Had 145,000 miles on it. Ran very well. Had a little bit of an oil leak, but not catastrophic. Okay. I drove it for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. I paid $3 grand for it before I street parked it. And I live right next to a high school. So, I know that odds are things can get dinged if they're on the street. Okay. Yeah. Especially when you're parked next to a high school.
Yeah.
It's a narrow street, this and that. So, park on the street, I had full coverage on it. So while it was there at one point, it got dinged. Somebody bumped into it. Nothing bad. It was a really minor crease on the quarter panel. scuff on, I think, the rear wheel, and like into the bumper cover. But like really minor crease, like you gotta catch it in the right light. Anyways, filed an insurance claim for it. Got like a $2,300 estimate, and then cashed out after deductible for like $1,800 for it. So I'm like, sit, I'm into this car like $1,200.
Yeah.
Life is great.
Yeah.
And then I eventually get it. It's fun. Time to sell it, right? Like this thing's a ticking time bomb. It's cool. I love it, but you know, no timing chain rattle yet. Nothing bad to write home about. But it's a matter of time. I don't need this car. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to greener pastures. Put it on Craigslist, and I sold it for, I don't remember exactly how much. I sold it for like $4,800.
Nice.
And I sold it to, there's a Safeway right by my house. And so that's where I like to meet buyers, for the most part. If it's, you know, depending on the situation, if I get a good feel from the guy, I don't care, right? But if it's like, you know, whatever. So I met him there. Kid was like 18. And he was there with his dad, right? Dad was in his, you know, late 40s, right? And so, oh yeah, that's a nice car. We drive it around the block. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it for my kid. You know, he's like, oh yeah, this is great. And I was like, okay, like, you know, kind of a lot of car for an 18-year-old, but go for it.
Sure.
So shake hands, here's the title, $4,800. I signed the title over to him, you give me the cash. Great. Off, onwards and upwards, right? So within the course of the next few months, you know, I get a thing in the mail saying, hey, there's no insurance on your car, so we're suspending your license. And it's on the Audi. So it's clear as day that he never registered it in his name, nor had he put insurance on it. Okay?
But you release liability.
I release liability, but as far as the California DMV is concerned,
they need to close.
It's antiquated and it's broken, but they're like, yeah, we don't care about your release of liability. We're still going to send you all the nasty grams until.
Damn.
So if he drove over a bridge and ran toll, I would get the violation in the mail. Now I can get out of it if I called like the toll people, like, look, here's my release of liability.
It's a pain in the butt, yeah.
It's a pain. So, and then a number of months later, maybe 4 months later, I see it for sale on Craigslist again for like $5,000.
Oh.
Using my photos that I took from the initial, so I knew it was my car, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it, and okay, you know, whatever. And then the price drops, and the price drops, and the price drops, and it gets down to like, I don't know, it gets down to like $4,600 or something.
Okay.
But it hasn't moved, it's been up for sale for 2 months. So I go, I know the car's still in my name. He never registered his name.
Save some
He
money.
was having a hard time selling it. So I just shoot him an email. I said, hey, I kind of miss that car. You know, I sold it because I made a ton of excuse. Yeah, my wife wanted me to get rid of it. You know, I would like to buy it back. However, in order for me to like not get in trouble with my wife, this is the most I can spend on it. Like, I don't want to lowball you. You are more than welcome to say no. I'm not trying to. But if you get to a point where you just need to get rid of it and you don't want to deal with having to smog it or weird title stuff because it's still in my name, you would hand me the title back and you want it to sell to me for $3,500. I'm amenable to that. That's fine. If not, you want somebody to kick rocks, totally get it. He's like, oh, that's cool. Thanks for reaching out. But yeah, no, I'm not willing to do that. I said, okay.
Yet.
Like 2.5 more weeks go by and I get a message from him. Hey man, if you're still down to, you know, I would do like, he's like, I would do like $4,000.
Okay.
If you would do $4,000, I'll do it. I said, the best I can do is $3,500. So if you get there, then like the next day he's like, okay, fine, $3,500. I'll meet you in the same place. I'll bring the title. So me and dad come right back. Have like 1,200 more miles on the car. I hand him $3,500. He hands me the title. I have the car back. I basically rented him the car for like 5 months or whatever it was.
So he handed you the title back made out from
that was still signed by me and dated. He just handed me the title back that I had handed him. He had paid me like 48. Actually, I take it back. I think it was either 5 or like 55 is what I sold it for.
Damn.
So I basically rented this kid for like $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever.
And he was like, he's like, the glove box is full of speeding tickets. Don't mind that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So just whatever. So I get the car back, and there was no bad juju attached to it. Parked back in front of my house. My wife's like, "The hell are you doing?" I was like, "I basically got free money." Like,
yeah.
She's like, "Okay, as long as you're winning, I'm cool." Guess what happens? Boom,
Crash.
Kind of. It gets lightly tapped in front of my house again.
Okay.
Instead of on the quarter panel though, it was like a little bit in the door, a little bit in the fender, a little bit on the front wheel.
Touched it,
right? But just enough to like warrant like minor repair and paint, but really like you'd have to like look at it at an angle, like, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Same deal. I cashed out like another $2,000 in an insurance claim, right? Parked unoccupied here in California. If you're not at fault, it doesn't affect your rates.
Sure. Yeah.
All as well. So now I like had the car. I've made a fair amount of money just like by happenstance and silliness. And then I ended up trading it to a guy, my buddy who's got a shop who's doing the paint body work on the Barracuda. So he's like, oh, I really like that car. I need something just to put around town. He's like, my daughter needs something to drive just in town. He's like, I can work on it. He's pretty good mechanically. So I was okay. So I traded to him for like $3,500 in body work towards paint and body work towards the Barracuda. And then it was finally gone. And I rid myself of the S4, and it was a fruitful.
It was printing money for you.
It was. It was an ATM machine, you know, in all possible ways. And so, and he still has that car. The guy, he still has. He doesn't drive it much, you know. He's like, oh, I think I hear the timing chain starting to make some noise now. I need to
but he's a millionaire.
Get out from under it, yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's flush with cash from people getting hit by lightning or weird things happening.
Right.
Do you have any other weird stories or something you sold?
Yeah, I'll blaze through this one kind of quick.
Sure.
Just recently sold that minty Daytona Shelby Z.
You did, yeah. The cars and the bids.
The cars and the bids, and it went for a good price, but
it did.
Boy.
Yeah, you have a quirky buyer, right?
Yeah.
I think you were telling me a little bit about it.
I would say beggars can't be choosers, but I wasn't really begging, and just ended up losing the lottery on this one. But basically, from the get-go, resilience to pay, like how to pay. So a lot of these auction sites, if you're not familiar, money transfers tend to be pretty popular. Cashier's checks get a little gray sometimes. There's a lot of fake cashier's checks.
Yep.
Cash is cash, but if you're coming from another part of the country, it's hard to send cash.
Yeah, especially if you're shipping it. Like, you know, if you're not coming to pick it up in person, like
exactly.
buy something for 12 grand or something, you can't just like, here's a bucket of cash.
And also, like, you don't want to hold the car for like months while they decide when they're going to come. So this ran the gambit from not wanting to send cash, going back and forth about that, and then ultimately, this gets so abstract. He wanted to use like a third-party site that held the cash until he picked up the vehicle, and he gets to keep it for 3 days before the cash is released to me.
Right.
So in this circumstance, I would be giving someone a car, giving someone the title, them transporting the car half the country away, and then maybe getting paid for it in 3 days.
Yeah, because they don't release it until he gives the green light, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
In which case,
which is not even an escrow service.
No one would ever do that.
Yeah.
In their right mind. Would you ever, once you give someone your car and their title made out to them, it's game over land. That's their car.
That's it. Yeah.
That's their car.
Yeah.
And this isn't just like, don't get me wrong, I saw a lot of cars where people come, check it out, test drive it and stuff like that. This isn't one of those circumstances, guys. This is someone paid for the car. That's how the auction works. If you go to an automotive auction and you raise your hand and you're the high bidder, guess what?
It's your car now.
It's your car, buddy.
If you go to start it and it doesn't start or it immediately throws a rock through the block and you didn't do a PPI on it, you know, and now if the seller just like outright misreps it, that's one thing.
That's absolutely.
If you're like, it's rust free and you get the car and like there's literally not a floor pan in the trunk, like, okay, there's a problem.
Yeah, PPI is pre-purchase inspection, not post.
Correct.
Just to clarify.
Yes.
If some people are listening.
It is. I heard there's at least 2. So yeah, so what else? Was that pretty much it? He did the thing, or was there other?
So here's the thing that rubs me, man. Like I like to buy and sell interesting cars.
Yes.
And I love to talk about cars.
No way.
I love cars. Yeah, surprise. Yeah. I love cars in general. Not once did this guy say, thank you so much. I'm so excited. This car's so cool. Show me about it. Like, let's talk about it. Not once. The entire transaction was him complaining about how risky and how fake the auction service was, how it shouldn't have a business license. It was just ridiculous. And not once did this guy say anything good about the car. Not once.
It wasn't about the car. It was about like...
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Such a cool car too, right? Like impossible to not say something good. Like when you look in the interior.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why this,
even
it's
though
a white box of life. It's just like why
even though he did say the whole front clip had been replaced at one time because it didn't have a Shelby badge.
It was definitely been chopped apart.
Oh, this thing was a piece of crap. No, but honestly, it was missing a badge. But I told him that car never had that badge, and then he changed his opinion. Then he said the driver's seat had been rewrapped at one point. And I'm like, wow, someone rewrapped that seat and matched it to 30-year-old leather. Like, exactly. Wow. Yeah, it's the best $5,000 they ever spent. But yeah, ridiculousness, and that was one of my absolute worst. And that's unfortunately the only bad thing about an auction site is I have no control. Once someone wins the auction, I have to try to sell that person that car. In real life, I would have immediately not sold this car to this guy.
Yeah. Just because like off the rip, like accusatory. Like,
horrible.
And not you get to pick your clientele. And, like,
still haven't gotten names. Still haven't even talked
No,
about
that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Yeah, who knows?
That's right on that one. You got another quick one we can buzz through?
I do. So, and I'll try and make it quick. So, once upon a time, I bought a white 1985 BMW 635 CSI coupe.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this one.
From a
Beautiful cars, by the way.
Oh, this one was immaculate.
And white. I like the way they look in white
over
because
black.
You can see all the angles. Like white
Yes.
cars, if it's got an interesting design, I always like white.
Mm-hmm. It's pure.
Yeah,
It's pure. Like pure Colombian.
What is it?
Mountain.
To Catch a Predator, the cleanest, best pleasure.
Oh no, I don't want to know. Honestly, we'll discuss that further off air. I'm afraid Chris Hansen is like right behind me, asking me to take a seat here in a second. Shout out to Manbay 2004.
I've got the chat logs.
Exactly. Did it say here? Mike's Hard Lemonade and
you want to put your what? My thing in your mouth? What does that mean?
Oh yeah. So the 85 633 CSI, immaculate condition.
Ooh.
It was on white over black, automatic, had like 180,000 miles. Every single thing worked on this car.
Well taken care of.
Very well taken care of. And I mean every single thing worked on the car. All the light bulbs under the little like window switches illuminated the window switches.
Oh my God.
Stereo, every single thing worked. It was on 8 series wheels. They had those like not quite a throwing star, but kind of throwing star-ish, like a twist,
like a solid
turbine type.
Yeah.
Like a turbo type wheel, turbine type wheel. And it was on those with fresh tires on it. I bought it from a tow yard. One of the body shops that I oversaw at the time up in Napa, they had their own tow business company, and so they would do all the towing for Napa County PD and Highway Patrol.
Okay.
And so this was on, they towed it in, it was on a Highway Patrol 30, all the guy knew was like, hey, all I know it's on a 30-day PD hold, which is usually a DUI, or it's a driving without a license.
Sure.
Or there's a number of things that are like, we'll get it on a mandatory 30-day PD hold. And what happens is you have to pay 30 days of storage plus lien fees plus a bunch of other stuff when you pick it up.
There was a dead hooker in that trunk.
I didn't know, there could have been. Well, I did get to poke around at first before I bought it, and there was like driving gloves and reading glasses in the glove box. There was like, it was left like it was like in someone's garage, not covered in dust in a tow yard. So I'm like, man, I'll buy it. So we haggle back and forth, and this was probably like 2010.
Okay.
Bought it for $2,500. After I keeping an eye, I was like, day 31, I'm coming in here to buy this. He's like, okay. So it's there. He's like, hey, it's day 31. Nobody's come by. He's like, we sent all the lien paperwork out. We've had no response. Literally, the car's abandoned at this point. So I bought it on like day 35, day 36.
Yeah.
Buy the car, fire it up, put some fuel in it, drive it home. Cream puff. Drives wonderful. Everything is perfect on this car. I found like an oil change sticker or something for like a German specialty shop in Berkeley. It was an up-to-date oil change sticker, so I called them. They're like, oh yeah, I know that car. I'll send you all the service records on it. Ooh. Mountain of service records. This thing was immaculate. It kept like up to current. I'm like, what the hell happened? How did this thing get stuck? Why was this in a tow yard? Did like someone, was there a dead hooker? Did someone like have a heart attack behind the wheel and was drunk at the time? So like I don't know, because they abandoned the car. I was like maybe some kid inherited it from their grandpa and didn't know or care about it and got a DUI in it and was like, it's grandpa's car. I don't have the money. I don't have the $2,500 in storage and towing to go get it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it go. Whatever. Mom's gonna be pissed, but I don't talk to her anyways. So what happened? So I had the car, right? I then get a call from the guy at the body shop / tow yard. He's like, hey man, you got a second? I said, yeah, what's up? He's like, dude came in to buy the 6 Series back, to bail it out. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, he's like, guy came in, he was a contractor. He came in to pick up the car because it's one of his clients. So what happened was, contractor up in like Cloverdale, some really nice, Oakville, some really nice part of Sonoma County.
Yep.
Working on a house, right? The owners, elderly couple, they went off to tour Europe because they're retired. They went off to tour Europe for like, whatever it was, 4 or 5 months, and had the contractor completely remodel their house while they're touring Europe. Sounds nice, sounds lovely. they asked the contractor, hey, while I'm gone, this car's my baby, right? I bought this car like near new. It was used, but he bought it when I was like 3 years old. He bought it in like 1988. He's like, do me a favor, I don't want it to kind of go in the pot. Like every week, every other week, can you just start it and drive around the block and put it back in the garage? I said, yeah, man, I got you. What the contractor did was, he gave it to his kid and said, hey, can you drive this car around and go have fun? He asked me to drive it. So the contractor gives the kid and we ended up finding this out from the tow driver actually, not from the contractor. He gives the key to the kid goes just joyriding in it, doesn't have a license, he's like 14, right? Beats the snot out of it, it gets pulled over because he's just driving like an idiot, doesn't have a license, it's impounded. Contractors goes, hey, I'll deal with it when I deal with it, I'm not too worried about it. And so he just ignored it. All the letters that were going to the house for like the lien seal, like your car's gonna be liened, it's gonna be liened, was going to this person's mailbox when they were in Europe, so they had no idea.
Wow.
So he goes there and he's like, you what? I guess he had no concept that after 30 days you can lien sell the car, the contractor. So he's shitting his pants because he just got his client's car effectively stolen. Like it's just gone. And so the guy at the tow yard is like, look, contractor man, I can't give you the buyer's information. It's illegal. Like I can't. It's his car. Like it doesn't matter. I understand your situation. Give me your name and phone number. I will have him call you if he chooses to. He doesn't have to. And see. So I'll just, for the sake of brevity, long story short is I go back and forth with this guy. He spins some story, made up a story that wasn't involving the kid joyriding in. Like, oh, I left my license at home or something.
Yeah.
Make some stuff up. I meet with him. He's kind of smarmy. I end up selling it. I bought the 2500. I ended up selling it for like $5,000.
Nice.
And then he ended up just like putting it back giving it a bath, driving it back into the driveway, and like pretending like nothing happened, right? What I did though, because I knew this guy was kind of smarmy and shady, and I knew that like the whole real story would never get back to the original owner, so I put a little note in the glove box. I said, hey, if you ever find this note, I got to have your car for like 3 weeks. If you want to know the story, I looked after it. It's clear you kept after the car. I wanted to be the same. If you have any concerns, if you ever wanted information, here's my phone number, give me a call.
Yeah.
Nothing. Until like 4 months later, I get a phone call. And I talked to the guy, and he said, oh no, he didn't tell me that's what happened. He said, this is some story. And I didn't completely throw the guy under the bus. He says, yeah, he's a nice enough guy, but you know, this is what I understood went down and the whole thing. And so I had the car for like 3 weeks. It's a beautiful car. If I still had it now, see, that's when I got away.
Oh boy.
If I still had that car now, you know, that's probably a $20,000 car, look how nice it was. And it's gone on to the next one, but I couldn't keep it. I would have been like stealing it from that guy. It would have been shady.
Yeah, it's a shame. But you made money off it, so that's what counts.
I know. I think we're getting short on time. Should I just throw a hot shot of quiz in your face?
Yeah, so quiz all over me, Dad.
I will.
So it's our automotive print quiz ad game show.
Yeah, how does this work?
Yeah, I get quizzed on a automotive ad from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Obscure as they may be, I've got to guess what vehicle Frank is trying to describe to me by reading the ad. We leave out all pertinent information that would be a dead giveaway, like the brand, the name of the vehicle, and anything else that's too identified.
Yep.
And I get 3 chances, he gives me hints, and let's see what we can do.
Okay, so this one, visually, there's only a little bit of script at like the top, like 15% of the banner. It's a 2-pager, by the way.
Oh.
It's a full spread. And at the bottom, like 80%, is the vehicle in black, I like the front passenger quarter stamps.
Very nice.
And it says, single-handedly, it caused an international adjective crisis. Okay.
Okay. International.
Mm-hmm. This one, there's really only one big hint. The rest of it's kind of fluff. But that's why we read these. We like the fluff.
Frank.
We like the fluff.
I know, these are the tough ones.
Auto journalists are rarely without words. Yet, in the years since we've introduced the blank, it's become difficult to find the superlative that hasn't already been applied. Fortunately, English isn't the only language to choose from. Critics all over the world have been churning out praise, some inspired by the sheer smoothness of the blank's 12-cylinder engine. Others by a luxury that's not only comfort, but also instills a new appreciation for driving. Visit your blank dealer and test the blank sedan. Automobile Magazine calls it, quote, the best car in the world. No ifs, ands, or buts. Rather light on modifiers, but perhaps the strongest word yet. That's it.
Dude.
That's it.
I've got no drivetrain. I've got
a 12-cylinder engine.
power. So I got
Power.
basic power.
Got power.
Zero, like, is it front wheel drive, all wheel drive, rear wheel drive?
Tell you what,
Is it a
front wheel drive 12-cylinder would be fantastic. No, it says
I mean, it'd be like a GM.
It says
It'd be a
sedan.
GM.
Yeah, it would be.
So yeah, sedan. Well, hopefully
It's
we
a
do
sedan.
sedan by 4-door, right?
Correct. Yeah. Not like, yeah.
That gets tossed around today.
Yeah, well,
So I've got a 4-door luxury sedan with a 12-cylinder.
Correct.
Black.
It is black. Available in multiple colors. Please contact your local dealer.
I'm gonna fail at this. This is gonna.
I don't
So
know.
it's,
I feel like this one's okay because there's really not a lot to choose.
right, which means if I can't peg the right one, because there's one. It's European. It's gonna be
Presumably.
It's gonna be German. Has to be German. It could be a Maserati.
I don't think it's Turkish.
It would be a delight if it was.
It would be.
God, man, it's gonna be Italian or German, right? Yeah. No,
Do you know any Italian V12 sedans?
Well,
Quattroporte isn't.
no,
It's made.
right. So it can't be Italian. Still, I was thinking maybe they made a 4-door Aston Martin.
And this is a North America spec vehicle.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's not like some weird alpha that like they never sold.
Okay, so they did sell it in the U.S. It wasn't made in the U.S. though, but it was sold in the U.S.
I'll give you that hint. It was not made in the United
Yeah, I put that one together. Jeez, guys, I want to say a 600 powered Mercedes probably fits this bill.
Could.
But then we get to play the guessing game. Is it an S600? Is it a... Oh, S was the luxury, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that was like the flagship luxury car forever for Benz.
Literally have no other idea what it could be, so I'm going to go S600.
It is not the Mercedes-Benz S600.
Okay.
I would say it is absolutely the S600 sedan's chief competitor. Like no bones about it. From the same country.
So we're talking.
I don't know how I can put it any different than that without completely telling you what.
So we're talking about a German still.
It's Germanium.
We're talking about
it is Germanium.
something with a round badge, perhaps similar to the one that's beside us right now.
Perhaps. I believe that's called a roundel.
A roundel. Okay, second guess then. So we're going to BMW. Boy. Okay. So yeah, so we're down to one digit, one character.
You're one. It's the middle character. You got the 7 right. You got the 0 right. Well, actually, technically speaking, you also got a letter wrong. It's of the E32 variety.
What did I say? I said 760.
You said 760i. What could you add on the end of that? What letter? If it was a larger wheelbase, perhaps.
Oh. I think it was like with the Alpina, you could get the L, which is the long.
So not just the Alpine. Most of them actually were sold as the L. That's the long
The
wheelbase.
L.
The 7.
Yep.
This is a
760
This is a 750 i.
7. See, that doesn't make sense. Oh.
It was a 5 liter.
5
liter. 5 liter V12.
Does that count? Was I in the ballpark? Close
Yeah,
enough?
I'll punt it too. But the 760 was the Bangle Butt era.
Right, but it was the 12.
It was the 12. It was the 12. It was the Bangle Butt era 12. But yeah, the and here let me. Well,
750
are
you explaining me that one? Because that's
that's as good as you can get. And realistically, in my mind, your only options were S600,
right.
750 IL.
Yep.
Maybe you could go Jaguar XJ12, which was the sedan XJ with a 12.
At the exact same time, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they made that 80s, 90s.
It just looked a lot older.
This would have been 1988. Oh, it looked.
Yeah, like a
straight out of
decade or
Coventry.
two.
Yeah, like I don't want to do more than this because I will.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Oh, great ad.
Yeah.
But dude, 0 descriptors in that ad. Except
The way I figured it's like V12 luxury sedan.
Why did
I can't think. There's nothing. So it immediately excludes Japan and America, flat out.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of anything from Europe. Those are the only 3 cars I can think of.
Unless they did like
There's no Audis.
Unless they made a Maserati Quattroporte with the V12, but they didn't.
They did. I don't think they ever
I
did.
don't know about
I
that.
remember some weird like coach built one or something, but I
I wonder if they did.
don't know.
That's for
Maserati fans react.
Yeah. Let us know.
You did it, my friend, on sparse information.
Thanks,
But
man.
I think there were only so many.
I mean, I was off by a generation, right? Like, I said 760, which would have been the right
technically
answer.
2 generations. But even if you said the other one was still called the 750IL.
True.
The E38.
The numbers, and then they started going bananas with the
Yeah, like, I don't know how we were like on E's, like all the chassis started with E forever, and then we went G and F like in the course of like 4 calendar years. But you know.
Well, even the displacement number's no longer valid.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just sailed a long time ago.
I know, but I liked it when it made sense. You know, I like.
So you're not a fan of the Taycan turbo nomenclature when it's an electric car?
Ridiculous.
Rugs. We do them here. Chiefly among them is Angel Dust, aka PCP, aka Project Car Progress. How is your life progressing, my friend?
The PCP friend, my friend?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Where are my notes? So I did the Miata is driving around. So
Okay.
that's fresh.
Yeah.
Funny story. So as seasoned as we are as mechanics, and I do a lot of wrench turning. Remember I told you I did the whole brake system over? I did rotors, lines, and fluid.
And there was still something else afoot, right? Wasn't something hanging out?
Something was dragging.
Sure.
Like significant brake drag.
Brakes, RuPaul edition.
Yeah, the sound of dragging, which I don't think sounds the same.
No, it's a very different sound when it comes to cars and people.
So anyway, significant like noise. I took all the calipers apart, re-greased them, rebuilt them, put them back together. Still exact same noise. Spun the wheel with the car on the jacks, on the jack stands. Still making the noise. Took the wheel off.
Both front and rear circuits.
Predominantly coming from this side, but when something's coming from your driver's side front in a convertible, that's all you hear.
Sure.
So I knew for sure that was that one. So I wanted to start there.
I mean, what that just brings in a prop valve or master cylinder, right?
So I did the master cylinder.
Okay.
Which needed to be done because it was leaking.
Sure.
Not just because I never replace parts, just fake diagnosing,
Really?
shooting into the,
Yeah.
pissing into the breeze, if you will. Dust shield. Dust shield. Amateur. You know, but you get happy, right? You're upset that you didn't find it earlier, but you're so happy when you just bend it, and you're good. Right? So that was fun. So that was the big issue. The other big issue was I'm driving it home. This is the best part. The headlight cover in the front right.
Okay.
Extend the pop-ups up.
Yeah.
Pop-up headlight for life.
And that's like the black plastic.
It's so it's painted. The top's painted, right?
Oh, the top
painted
cover,
section does like a full diamond into the air. One screw still holding it.
Oh,
At 70
boy.
miles an hour.
Good luck with that.
And that thing's either going to come into your windshield or just be lost forever, right?
Hang in there, baby.
So I pull over. I love that poster. Pull over, no tools, and it's hard to get to anyway. I have my keys. I used my keys to tighten because there were flathead screws.
Okay.
Tighten that down, and then like a little bit further down the road, I hit a bump. All the power goes out. So full lights out, engine off.
Yeah.
Fun. They hit another bump immediately after power comes back. Yeah, we fixed it.
Yay.
That's adventure, right?
That's it.
I get home and I'm playing around with the battery and I'm moving the battery and it keeps disconnecting, going on and off. So I'm like, what the hell is going on with this? I start looking at the grounds for the battery itself. The batteries are in the trunk of a Miata. Just in case you didn't know that. It's grounded to the chassis in the sense that it's loosely associated with being grounded to the chassis.
Sure.
There's a zip tie holding the battery negative ground
to
the hinge of the trunk.
I mean, that's not factory.
No, it might have been a different brand of zip tie, not an OEM Mazda, and it was barely making contact. You could move it, just a loose zip tie, and then open copper wiring, hopefully touching metal.
Boy, at least it was the ground cable doing that, not the positive.
Oh my god. But still, without a ground, you don't have any power.
Yeah.
Jeez, pure luck. Now that's fixed. I actually put like a, the fisheye kind of thing on so you can screw it to the chassis.
Sure, yeah.
So it's all legit. Heat, soldered it in, did all the heat wrap and everything. So it's correct now, but good lord, those are the fun things you find on these old cars. So I've been driving around, absolutely brilliant. Next time you're up, we'll go for a spin. I'll let you drive it around. It reminds me why I love it. And I took the whole suspension apart and I did everything and it didn't even need an alignment. I'm going to get one anyway. But it drives perfectly straight, handles perfect, so that's a sign that I did a decent job. But yeah, what a car.
Fantastic.
What's your PCP
Boy,
this week?
Well, I still have not gotten to the tires or anything on the Civic. I've just been kind of floating around with it. That's on the to-do list.
Yes.
On Also on the to-do list is I'm at critical mass, my friend. I've got far too many vehicles.
Kind of
less than you, but still.
Kind of matches that critical ass.
Exactly. Oh boy. And so part of moving weight from the hips or not is I'm gonna have to probably move on from. I think I'm gonna have to sell a van, my guy.
No.
Because I'm gonna have to get something that with real. I know we talked about the search for a tow vehicle. We're kind of getting there. Because I'm gonna have the Sandbar van photo booth done here shortly, and then.
How many vehicles do you have in your fleet right now, Frank?
Oh,
this
boy.
is not an indictment.
Oh boy, 65 Barracuda, which isn't at the house.
Yep. Well, that's good.
41 Chevy half ton. I've got the mentioned minivan. I've got the Sandbar, the 91 Sandbar. I have the 91 Galant VR4. I've got the 82 Porsche 924 Turbo, and I now have the 04 Honda Civic Hybrid.
You forgot your wife's vehicle too.
And my wife has a car.
So you have 6 vehicles.
That's the immortal Lexus RX.
Barracuda's in the shop.
7 at home. Barracuda's at the shop.
Look, I'm holding 7 fingers.
How did I get 8? I don't know. I have 7.5, 6.5 at home.
Nice.
So it's too many. So the van it's a limited utility for me at this point because I need something to tow, which is only going to tow 3,500 pounds, which is
true.
Just about where I get uncomfortable towing a 2,000-pound Sandbar with any sort of a trailer with any sort of.
You mean like your lifted minivan might not be the most stable?
With 233,000 miles on it, yeah. So I've got some loose ends I need to shore up on that. It's just about due for an oil change, so I will do that. I need to, one of the driver's seats pretty tore up. I think I need to just at least recover the bottom. I've got some stuff I need to clean up, and then, I don't know, maybe I'll do the cars and bids thing. Bring a trailer would scoff at me. But it's got enough quirk in it, and it's a lifted freaking minivan that I think I can maybe get in Doug's ear and be like, bro, let me run my lifted minivan on your
anyway.
on this website. But before we do any of that nonsense, we talked about it before. We gotta take these bad boys off road.
We do. We need to get her dirty before we let her loose.
There's a little mud on the tires. I don't remember who sung that country song, but somebody sung it, and I heard it, and we need to replicate it in minivan form. So maybe this upcoming week. I know there's on and off rain next week. I've got some work business catch up stuff I gotta do, but I think that's what we need to do.
Bro, rain is 50% of the equation for mud.
That's true. That is true.
But not so much for filming in it.
Yeah, it's a kind of complex web we weave. But yeah, we need to make that happen. And then plus it'd be I feel like heavy off-road photos for the ad would be dope. So
super cool.
We can do that. Maybe I kind of want to put a sweet light bar on it before I sell it.
Hell yeah.
Problem is I'm gonna do all this work and then I'm gonna want to keep it. But I need to move on from that. Probably move on from the 924 Turbo. It's supposed to go into the shop on Monday. That keeps getting pushed back, but hopefully that'll happen. Get my small goals done, and that's where I'm at with my doing and using and abusing of PCP.
Hey man, we use and we take care of ourselves. We came out on the good end of this PCP binge we were on. So.
Yeah, exactly. So all is well.
Moving forward,
straight West Coast. And you got anything else for the peoples before we put a sweet little bow on this thing?
Nothing more than a well-earned thank you for checking out the podcast. We greatly enjoy you guys coming by and listening. Follow us on the tubes, the grams, everything else. Leave some comments if you like what you see or you got any ideas for future episodes. We could probably pencil you in with our strict regimental.
I know
topics.
We're like making shit up as we get here. Like, oh.
Frank's driving, balancing a notepad on his lap while he's coming up with some ideas.
Are you kidding me? I don't take notes.
Yeah, true.
So we'll just so keep it coming. If you got ideas, let us know because we can use them at this point. We're gonna be here at episode 20, not super soon, but sooner than I would have anticipated. I think this is what 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there.
This is 16.
16, and never been kissed. So keep hanging out. We're gonna keep.
We're not even 17. Okay.
Did we forget that was Winger?
It was Winger.
After all,
it was Winger. Yeah.
Kip Winger is rolling. Is he dead? Even if he's not, he's probably rolling around in his grave.
Yeah.
Thanks for tagging along, and we'll see y'all again soon.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
See ya.